Alright, I want to, and we'll try to do a video about one of my favourite rap artists, Necro. I don't know if you know who Necro is, but essentially he makes death rap. I think he actually made that genre of music. I'm not sure if he did actually death rap, but yeah, essentially it's like a form of gritty gangster rap, focused mainly on the killing aspect and exploitation aspect of gang culture. I don't know if just in America, also worldwide, I'd say. But yeah, I listen to Necro essentially just because he's a bastard. Like, I guess most people listen to music that's nice to make them feel better and feel good about the world. Now, Necro talks about, like murdering homosexuals and killing women and killing, well, killing pretty much everyone, torturing people, kidnapping people, slavery, child abuse, all sorts of shit. He's a he's a very horrible guy, but I like his music because it makes me feel angry in a way that I enjoy. It's like a good way of channeling my anger, a good way of getting my anger out, because his music itself, me listening to it, isn't me actually doing anyone harm. It's just listening to a simulated version of, like, a conspiracy to do harm to other people, essentially. I find a lot of his lyrics to be quite funny. Like, he says, "I'm not homeless, I've got ownership of all of my own shit." Stuff like, one of his lyrics I found quite beautiful. He says, "Death is ugly because you fear it, but it's beautiful to demons." I can totally relate to what he means when he says that. There's also like he's got a track called "Robbery," which is essentially just about doing armed robberies on people and robbing the houses. And yeah, I mean, pretty nasty stuff. Pretty horrible Brooklyn sound that he's got. He's got a Brooklyn accent, and he uses it quite well. He's got pretty sadistic lines. His beats, though, his beats are pretty fucking good themselves. Like, so some of his videos and some of his music I listen to, and sometimes I'm not in that killer mood, and it just annoys me. But I still listen to the instrumentals because his beats are just so good. So if you don't like that type of music, then listen to the instrumentals. I think you'll still like that music because of the instrumentals themselves. Necro, I think he's got his own label. He owns Psychological. I think he produced, yeah, he produced all the beats for Non-Fiction as well, or some of the beats for Non-Fiction. La Coca Nostra. Who else? Sabak Red. He did quite a few things from what I'm aware of. Brothers Ill Bill, obviously a crazy Jew. Gangster, like, yeah, pretty cool shit. I mean, I don't know if he's actually a Jew gangster, like, living in a rough part of Brooklyn. He might just be a normal guy who decided to make brutal rap music because it'd make him money and make him mildly famous. I think, personally, I wouldn't fuck with the geezer either way, just because whether or not he's a gangster, he definitely understands how to be. He's got some pretty nasty things to say. It's a pretty crazy and harsh game when it comes to selling drugs and pimping. Like, I'll give him that. He's definitely got a brutal style. I find his voice to be a bit monotone sometimes, quite repetitive. He just like basically all the other rappers, he digs himself a lot. He raps his own name over and over again in his songs. I don't mind, but it kind of annoys me, particularly in rap, but also in other music genres when people just quote their name over and over again. It's like, we know who the fuck you are. I can see the name of the artist and the song title. You've told me before a million times who you are. Like, I don't want a track that's 20% your name and 80% actual lyrics, That shit annoys me. But that aside, the guy's he's pretty cool. He did a video about murder called 187 Reasons Why, or 187 Reasons Why. But it definitely is actually 187 Reasons Why. Pretty trippy movie. Like the kind of thing you'd watch when you're on an acid trip if you're feeling heavily murderous. But I feel like he's the kind of guy if you hung around with, he'd be okay, and then he'd just be an obnoxious asshole and take your wallet and not run, just look at you until you run, essentially. From the way his lyrics are sprawled out and the kind of instrumentals and sick beats he's got. But, I learnt a lot of cool things from Necro, like, I learnt a little bit about drug dealing and nefarious deals, can relate to some of it in some ways, can relate to, like, that gang mentality, not really in this small town, but in some parts of the world, like, you see that brutality level, you see that violence, and it's fucking crazy. And hats off to the guy, even if he was just trying to offend people with misogynistic, homophobic, torturous, nasty lyrics. He succeeded in pissing them off. I reckon he made quite a lot of money off his label, and yeah, he became moderately famous. So as much as sometimes his lyrics are annoying and his voice can be annoying and he reps himself, his beats are good. Generally, I find him to be pretty fucking funny. It's fun to get that anger out that way. So yeah, a lot of respect for Necro, and I'll enjoy. I'll enjoy it if he produces any more stuff. Cheers for listening.